cherished. I'm Cherish, and today's video is another whisper ramble chit chat. But today's is going to be some of my favorite Halloween memories. I love Halloween, so I have some fun memories and wanted to share them with you all. But before we get started, if you wouldn't mind to please hit that subscribe button to subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate it so much. And then while you're down there, if you could hit the like button too, pretty please. And lastly, if you have a second before you fall asleep, if you could leave a comment in the comments section down below, I would be so grateful. Today's question of the day, if you would like to answer that in the comments, is what is your favorite Halloween memory? What is your favorite Halloween memory? I'm excited to hear what some of y'all's favorite memories are. I feel like Halloween is such a fun and nostalgic time for so many people. Also, before we get started, I wanted us to just take a moment for my earrings. You can't see them super well with this lighting. Speaking of sidebar to my sidebar, I thought this lighting would be kind of fun for Halloween. It's the green ring light setting, and so I thought it kind of looked a little wicked, like the movie Wicked. I thought it had a little bit of a Halloween vibe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Also, it's just dark and calming. I think when I do a darker setting, I usually do blue. But anyways, these earrings, I love them so much. My best friend, my BFF, she got them for me and sent them in the mail. She's like, I've told you guys before, she's like the best gift giver and my ultimate influencer. But they're black, and then they have little like groovy flowers and a couple of little white ghosts. Aren't those so fun? I think they are. I really like them. Anyways, sorry, now I'm trying to fix my hair. Let's get into the Halloween memories. So, I wrote these down, and I kind of just went in chronological order from like the first Halloween I can remember. I'm obviously not going to tell you guys about every one of my Halloweens. I can't remember every one of my Halloweens, but just like the highlights through the years in chronological order. So, the first memory that I have of Halloween, I think, was when I was in first grade. And really all I remember about that is that I dressed like a rock star. It was like the nylon, very 90s costume. It had like hot pink in it and black. Because back then I guess that was rock. It was hot pink and black, I don't know, in the 90s. And it had like zebra print on it. And I think it came with a microphone, and my mom like crimped my hair. So we trick-or-treated as a kid. I don't remember there being any like trunk or treats in my town. We just trick-or-treated house to house. Like, of course, our families would take us, like our parents, and we would just walk all over the town and go trick-or-treating. I remember one particular house, they always gave full-size candy bars. So, like, you hit that house first to make sure you got your full-size candy bar. And as a kid, like, I didn't get candy for no reason as much as my son does and kids do now. So it was like super exciting. And then there would always be somebody in the town who like had set up a hay ride of some sort, or like just a trailer with hay on it that we could ride on to go trick-or-treating. We had costume contests at school, in elementary school, at Halloween parties. It was a good time to be alive at Halloween. It was so fun. I have really good memories of that. And also, we always did Halloween on Halloween night, unless Halloween was on a Sunday. And then I think maybe they would like move trick-or-treat to a different night. But it wasn't like now where you have like a million trunk-or-treats on so many different nights. It was like Halloween was Halloween. It was one night of fun, and then it was over. But it was good. And then when I got into high school, really the only thing I remember about Halloween in high school is that's when trunk-or-treats started being a thing in our area, was when I was in high school. And so my church did a trunk-or-treat, and I would usually volunteer to help with that. And that was always fun. We would do that in our fellowship hall at our church, which, looking back now, that fellowship hall was pretty small, but they made it seem so big. They would do like apple bobbing. Gross. But there would be like a bobbing for apples station, and I don't know, probably cornhole, and like the fishing, for candy, stuff like that. And then also that made me just remember something I didn't write down. In elementary school, my school always had, not just in elementary school, I believe the school still does it. They always had a Halloween carnival, like before Halloween. And there was also something called a royalty race, where like, if you raised the most money, you got crowned king or queen if you were in high school, or duke and duchess if you were in middle school, or prince and princess if you were in elementary school. And you would get to dress all up, and like all of the contestants dressed up. And there was a boy and a girl contestant from every grade. And you'd wear like formals, So that was fun. And then right after the royalty race would be the carnival, and it would be in the gym. And there would be so many stations set up. Like, you could win goldfish. I don't know if they still do that, but you could win a goldfish. We wanted goldfish every year, and those poor things, they always died. Sometimes before I made it home with them. And then they would have like the fishing station, and I think every grade, like every teacher might have been in charge of having a booth, and you could win prizes. They would also do, this place it wasn't like a gym and cafeteria together, but they were attached to each other. There was like the gym, and then a little hallway, and then the cafeteria. And there would be bingo. They would have bingo in the cafeteria. I think that was for the seniors to raise money, maybe. closets and made costumes. So I remember she was like a hippie, like she had clothes to be a hippie. And then I had like a going out shirt that was like, it was kind of embarrassing. It was long and it was like a tank top and it was like a silver stripe, a black stripe, a silver stripe, a black stripe, and it was like metallic. I don't know if I ever wore it outside of this like particular party thing, but I wore that with leggings and maybe like a hot pink headband or something, again with the hot pink, and black being like rock star. I don't know why, but I like, teased my hair. Actually, correction, probably my best friend teased my hair. And this is the same best friend I still have now. We met in college. Anyways, and so I was a rock star and she was hippie because that was just what we had in our closets. Kind of lame, not super creative, but it was fun. And that's like really the only college Halloween memory I have that I can remember. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, I don't really remember much else from college Halloweens. Then after I graduated from college, a couple years later, I worked at a college. Well, after I graduated from university, I worked at a college, and the college where I worked would always do like a fall festival for kiddos with special needs. They really tailored it to them. And so as an employee there, I got to help with that. I think I was like maybe an advisor of a student organization that helped with it. I can't remember why I got to help with it, but I always did. It was super fun. And then later on, a couple of years after that, after I got married and my husband and I had moved to a different city, I worked at a university. Most of my professional life has been in higher education, but I worked at a university, and that university always put on like these great events for the community. And one of the events they did was always a fall festival in October. So I got to help with that around Halloween time. And so that was fun. But I remember the first year my husband and I had gotten married. We got married in August of 2013. We lived in this house in a small town until December. And then we moved because he got a job a couple hours away in a little bit bigger city. It was more of a suburb. And we lived in an apartment there. So we moved. We got married August 2013. Lived in that apartment till December 2013. We moved into that apartment. I'm sorry, in that house. And then we moved in to that apartment in December 2013 in the suburb. And so 2014, I remember October rolled around and I was so excited for Halloween. I was like, we get to hand out candy. Like, it's my first time to get to hand out candy as like a grown married adult woman at my own home. So I went crazy. Like, I made goodie bags, not just candy. I made goodie bags with like candy, tons of candy, pencils. I specifically remember there were candy and pencils, and maybe like toys of some sort. I was so excited, and yeah, spent a lot of time doing that, which was fine. I wasn't working at the time. I hadn't gotten a job yet. And then we had like a couple sets of my cousins came by who lived there. Their kiddos came by because I called them and like told them, please come over. And so they did. But other than kids came other than like that one set of siblings, and then my cousins. I think I ended up giving the pencils like to my best friend who was a teacher at the time. She's still a teacher, but she teaches for the virtual school that I worked for actually now. But at that time, she was working in like a brick and mortar actual classroom. So yeah, that was a bummer. And then I remember the first year we lived where we live now. In 11 years of marriage, we've moved a few times to different cities. And in the place we live now, again, that first year, I didn't make goodie bags, but I did buy a lot of candy. I dressed up as like a fairy, like I just bought some fairy wings at the store, like at the dollar store or Walmart or something. And put like a bunch of glitter on my eyes, put my hair in space buns just like for fun, you know. I didn't have any kids at the time. And I sat out on the front porch and I waited and I waited and I waited. And I think maybe again like 1 or 2 kids came by from across the street and that was it. So that was again disappointing. But it's okay. And then sorry, I just had a memory come in and like fly out of my brain that I didn't remember. My first year with our son, I have good memories of Halloween that year. I have hard memories of Halloween that year with him as well, but good memories. He was 10 months old, and he actually came to us that month of Halloween, like in October of that year. He came to us, and so, you know, we were still learning him and he was still learning us, but it was a good Halloween. He dressed like a chicken. It was a cute little costume. It was actually, I don't want to give too much of his like background story because that's his to tell someday. So anyways, he had a cute little chicken costume and he wore that. We went and saw some of his bio family, and then we, on one of the days, like maybe not on Halloween day, but another day, we went to a little like fall festival in a neighboring town. And then on Halloween, I was determined to make it special. And so he was only 10 months old and I was so excited though. And so I made like homemade edible Play-Doh for him, which was disgusting. And he just kept trying to put it in his mouth. And I was like, but I made that. He did like playing with it. Some of our neighbor kids, not our neighbor kids, I'm sorry, our landlord's kiddos came by to trick or treat and see him. I'm just picturing in my mind, I remember him just sitting in his little bumbo seat playing with the Play-Doh. And we didn't take him trick or treating. Like, we just did fun Halloween stuff at home because he was 10 months old. Like, he wasn't gonna eat candy. But it was a really good day. Yeah, it was a really good day. And then another Halloween I remember is the year that we had both our son and our foster daughter. So at that point, our son was, let me think about it. He was like 22 months, I guess. And our foster daughter was 17 months. And I dressed them as Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and they were so stinking adorable. And so we took them to our church's trunk or treat. I think that's the only thing we did with them that year. We took them to our church's trunk or treat, and our foster daughter was learning to walk. Our son could obviously walk. were so proud of her that night because she took a lot of steps by herself. I remember pushing them around in their double stroller for a while. It was really fun. Our son liked the cakewalk, and he still likes the cakewalk. Who doesn't like a good cakewalk, right? But yeah, that was a good Halloween. And now we usually help with the trunk or treat at our church. I'm not going to help this year. This year I'm just going to take my son and enjoy him, be there with him. But I usually help with that. And then, what else? Oh, our community usually has, in the city, there's a particular street they'll block off for a Halloween carnival for all the businesses in that area. I haven't seen anything about that this year, but it's usually really fun, a little carnival. Each business has a game, usually. And they're usually inflatable bounce houses and maybe a little haunted house. And then there's also usually a trunk or treat at the end of it. I haven't seen anything about that this year. That's a bummer. And then I've told you guys about this before. The health system in our city, the health systems, they all get together and put on a health fair. But the health fair also is a trick or treating thing, and they have these amazing door prizes. So we usually do that. But I think that this year we will probably just go to different trunk or treats with our son. A couple nights. I kind of don't like how it's done now. Different places have their trunk or treats on different nights. And it's as a mom, I feel guilty if I don't take my son to all of it. But there's no possible way to go to all of it, so I shouldn't feel that way. But anyways, what are you guys doing for Halloween? I hope you have so much fun and stay safe. Hopefully you're asleep by now. But thank you so much for being here. I'm truly, truly, truly so grateful